Welcome back to the Curva Chronicles episode 4. Already episode 4, bro.
I know, bro. Time is flying, man. It's crazy.
Time flies when you're having fun. Episode
That's what they
4.
say. That's what they say.
Today we are back as another Brazil. How many Brazil tops do you have?
I don't know, bro. I'm running out, bro. Soon you're just gonna see me in a white tee or something. I'll tell you that.
Oh, top.
Or I might just have to buy some more, man. We'll have to see.
Jeez. Did they ever wear that in game time?
I don't know, I think it's like a limited edition top. I've never seen them wear it, but it came out maybe like last year or the year before. And I cropped this when I went to Brazil, to be fair.
Cold.
But yeah, I like it, man.
Yeah, it's nice.
Christ the Redeemer and that.
Come on. Do you know the history behind that?
Or Christ the Redeemer.
Yeah.
I think when the Portuguese went to Brazil, because obviously a very Christian country, they put it up. Pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but yeah.
Wavy, wavy, wavy. I've got the Black Stars today.
GH.
Representing the boys. And yeah, it's been an interesting week in the world of football. Not as much going on.
No. I mean, few signings that got over the line.
Yeah.
Florian Wirtz, it's been confirmed now. 113 million, I think he was. Plus, obviously, bonuses and all of that. I don't know, probably around 140, 150 million in total. Kirkers going to Liverpool.
Man, I did a video on this, and it's just a shame that we let talent like this slip through our net time and time and time again, man. Because Kerkez, if he was at AC Milan right now, he could easily have replaced Theo Hernandez at this point, or given him some
Yeah,
competition.
yeah, easily. If you if we sat here and done what could have been AC Milan, the team is crazy, bro. Kessie, Tonali, Paqueta, Kirkers. I mean,
Reinders.
Reinders is yeah, it's sad, man.
It
It's
is,
sad.
and one of the mad things is that Maldini, a lot of these players, Maldini brought them in, man. De Ketelaere, Tonali, Kerkez, and yeah, it's a shame to see him go. But it'll be interesting to see him at Liverpool. I think it's time for Liverpool's to refresh their wing backs. I think they're doing
Yeah,
some shrewd business, man.
they're doing very well. But if you think about it, last season they bought no one, and they won the season, which maybe they didn't expect to, but they still done it. And now they have money from that they didn't spend last season. They have money from winning the league, and they can spend, bro. Like they went for what? Yes, it's a big fee, but they had the money to do it, and they mean business, bro. They mean more business than Arsenal, clearly, because they know what they want very early in the market. They're getting the business done so they can do the preseason with these new players. Get them used to the system, and then go for the league again next year. It's
So,
gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
so
Very strong.
I saw this thing quite a while ago, and we're talking about in the world of football. There's not many new transfers, but there's kind of older transfers that have gone through the line now, or ones that have been announced before. Someone was saying that Fabrizio Romano has ruined the transfer market because back in the day it used to be a surprise, like what, Ozil's going to Arsenal, man, and it was just be on the last day and it'll be a mad thing, everyone's excited. Whereas now, if Ozil's going to Arsenal in 2025, we know about it from 2020 because Romano even knows Yamil Yamal is in with Neymar on holiday. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think of that? What do you think of that?
I feel like it's crazy. I mean, obviously that's his job, bro. He's a journalist, right? And obviously with the world of social media, he just moved into Instagram and YouTube and everything that he does. And ultimately that's his job. And before we just didn't have visibility of it as much. But he was still doing the same job. Like he didn't start working 5 years ago, 6 years ago, wherever he came to the scene. I find it interesting because he's always sick when he's like conversation begin with, I don't know, when Florian Wirtz flew to Manchester, he knew that he was flying to Manchester to talk to Man City. That's crazy. Do you know what I mean? Um,
It is.
I don't think he ruined. Bro, transfers are transfers, anyways, bro. Like whether we know at the beginning stage of it or at the end, I don't think it matters. I find it interesting to go on Fabrizio Romano and see like what's happening today. Um, I enjoy it too, fair, but it should
Yeah.
go on, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I think, just like you, I think it's not Fabrizio's fault. It's just the way the world is going.
Yeah.
So we just live in a world now where this is what happened. He's adapted to the time. He's been the best journalist to adapt to this, which is why now he's the number one guy. But yeah, I saw some people saying, and it'll be interesting to know in the comments. Let us know. Do you think that Fabrizio Romano has removed that excitement from the transfer window, or are you on the side that says it's good that he keeps us up to date? Because if it wasn't for him, then we wouldn't know what's happening. It's gonna be really
Yeah.
interesting to know.
Talking about Premier League transfers, I guess. What do you think of Arsenal movement in the market, or no movement in the market? And obviously, we hear that Thomas Partey is not really trying to sign a new contract with them as well. We've known for the longest time that they've been needing a striker. Obviously, still early. I think they'll bring someone in, but it feels like they're not really doing anything compared to your Man Cities and the Liverpools and even your Uniteds. Although it's only Cunha, obviously, conversation with Mbuemo happening. But I don't really see a lot from Arsenal.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say it's still early because it is. However, I think it's a sign of kind of mismanagement when you start the transfer market at the start of the transfer market. And I say that to say that Liverpool knew what they wanted before the transfer market started, which is why they
Yeah,
started with a bang. They got the two fullbacks, they got Frimpong, they got Kerkez now, they got Florian Wirtz. Like they had an idea of okay, this is that direction that we want to go in, and then we're going to
true.
attack early. Similar, Man City, no wasting time. They're like, okay, we've lost some key midfielders, we're going to replace them straight away. Arsenal, even Stevie Wonder can see, bro. They need a striker. They
Yeah,
need a striker. And they're playing around. Should we get Benjamin Sesko? Should we get Gyökeres?
Gyökeres.
Make your decision and go. Because just like you said, the season, we're at end of June now. Season's going to start in like a month, like in
Yeah,
August, right? And you need to embed yourself in pre-season, not just with games, but also with training. And you
yeah.
need to give the player time to adapt to this new
Chance.
country,
Yeah,
all of these new things. So yeah, I'm quite surprised at the low level of activity from Arsenal, and even apart from the forward, I think they need a left winger as well. Because at the
yeah,
moment they've got Martinelli, Trossard, okay, but if they truly want to, get across the line, what are they going to do with the left wing position?
yeah.
Thomas Partey might be leaving. Okay, they got Zubimendi coming. Is Zubimendi confirmed?
Not yet, but it's basically getting
Almost.
confirmed. Apparently, something to do with like wanting, I think, um, wanting to do it so that they get the money in the new financial year rather than something
Understood.
to do with that.
Understood.
But
Understood.
apparently, it's pretty much confirmed.
Understood. Yeah, man. Arsenal, it's one of those ones where, because Arsenal fans keep thinking, yeah, it's soon gonna be our time because they've come
Yeah,
second so much. What they don't realize is all the teams behind them, they're
they're
improving.
getting stronger.
Do you know what
Yeah,
I'm trying to say? And City had an off year. What are the chances that they're gonna have two off years in a row?
exactly.
Chelsea's gonna build, like Newcastle's gonna build. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of years Arsenal find themselves fighting for top four again.
Yeah. Although I saw something online which I found quite interesting, and someone said that they felt like this was the end of City rather than the rebuild of City. With the new signing, they're saying all teams have their period of domination, right? And they feel like next season City is going to struggle, which could be, because they lost big players. Obviously, knowing Guardiola, everyone says, yeah, he's a good coach because he can go in the market and spend, but you still have to manage the players that you bring in. And we've seen, bro, money is not everything in football. So you have to give him his flowers. But it could be interesting because City might not be competing next year. And obviously, they started the first game in the Club World Cup. And I think Rangers had a decent game. Doku
So,
and Foden
what
played really
formation did they
well.
play? Well, how did they play in the first game?
I think they played 4-3-3, I believe.
Okay.
Nico Lewis, the Brazilian centre back that came in December, Reis, I think his name is, Ake, and someone else. I don't remember who played on the left. And then they played Rangers as a holding,
Holding, yeah.
yeah. And then Xerxes, Foden, um,
So Ryan
and
Church
then,
played in the midfield.
yeah, Xerxes, Foden, and then Marmoush up top, Doku, and Savinha.
So tell me about
And
how the three plays.
yeah, Sexy are the man. He looks out of place.
Really?
Some fans were saying how Foden wasn't trying to pass him the ball because Like, everyone's saying how he's Foden's replacement, right? So like Foden was out to prove a point. Obviously Foden scored and assisted. Doku scored as well. Um, I think Xerxes was like in the midfield, the player with the lowest rating, like 6.8 or something. But it was just like misplaced pass. He played like he was in a park. It was like very lazy sort of play. But that's how he plays, anyways, right? But when it doesn't work, it doesn't look good. Do you know what I mean?
I understand.
Ult is his first game. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna work
Absolutely.
out. But we also know Guardiola, right? 2 games like that, and he's just gonna play someone else, and then he might see the bench for the rest of the season. Look at Grealish.
Yeah,
So
it's true.
it'll be,
I'll never forget though. The reason I'll give Turkey time is because I'll never forget Leroy Sané.
bro.
There was so much hype around him. We watched that first game that he played for City, and we were like, "What is my
What?
man doing? Jogging
What?
around, looks so crap." And then Guardiola must have spoken to him, bro. A couple games later, he was a beast.
I think it was a season later. I
I was a
think it was a
season later.
season.
That was a
Yeah,
beast.
I think for a season we questioned him, bro.
Okay.
But then it's the same with Sterling, to be honest. Like first season, City didn't bang. Second season, there was a season where Sterling was doing Messi numbers, bro.
Yeah, I remember.
So obviously you have to give these players time. It's just whether Guardiola wants to give. He picks and chooses who he gives time to.
Yeah.
So is all in his hands. I think obviously he's 21, bro. You have to give him time. I think Foden is gonna have a big season. Foden's it out there. I think he's gonna have a good season. Ultimately, it was the first games against Casablanca. I'm not saying, but I think he's back to prove a point, and it'll be interesting to see what he does.
I like Foden, man. I want him to do well. And in the Club World Cup, I saw that Chelsea lost, man, to a South American team. And it really just begs the question, like Premier League bros, what's going like we keep saying, guys, the Premier League, you guys are inflating. If the Premier League was as good as you say, how's
You
Chelsea
should be
this season?
you should be smoking this team out of the park. I
Smoke.
don't know. I don't know if this. I don't know if the European teams are taking this seriously. I think Brazilian teams are very good. They started very well. I think they lost one game, all of the Brazilian teams, out of the games they played, and that was yesterday, Bayern Munich against Boca Juniors. But even then, I don't know if you saw the goal that Boca Juniors scored. Bro, play
Yeah.
went past the defenders, put it past him, went round him, and then finished, bro. It was a very good goal. But yeah, I don't know if the European teams are taking it seriously, bro. Look at PSG losing against Botafogo. Um, these South American teams are not small teams, and we've known that. I think back in 2008, when they were doing that World Cup where you just play the Brazilian teams, it was always a very competitive game. Boca Juniors is a massive club. River Plate, massive club. Botafogo to me is a bit newer. Like when I went to Brazil, I heard of them, but I didn't really know much about them. But they're not here to play, bro.
The Botafogo won the South American Champions League equivalent, right? I believe.
Did they this year?
I think so. If you can fact check to that, that would be really
Yeah,
cool. And yeah, I do think that sometimes the complacency does kick in when you play these kind of teams. But we know, like we've both played sports, and you have to be on your A game no matter who
regardless of
you're
who you're
playing
playing.
against.
Yeah,
And that's one thing that if your mind's not in it, but your opponent's more mentally up for it, they're winning the challenges. And then when they go ahead, it's hard to come back. And
yeah,
that's one of these things
100%.
in football or just in sport, even in athletics, right? If someone gets a better start than you and you're not on it, it's hard to come back. So, yeah, it's really interesting to see. Other than Bayern Munich, that so far I've got 2-2. I saw
Yeah,
Inter have drawn their first game, and yeah, the European teams aren't necessarily smashing it at the moment.
yeah, they're not. It'll be interesting, bro. I think everyone thought it's gonna be a walk in the park, but it's not easy, regardless of who you play. Also, the weather plays a part. It's really hot. Some of these players are not used to that weather. Obviously, not making excuses for professionals, but it does play a part. Real Madrid, drew the first game. They missed the penalty in the last minute, which was a questionable penalty. Man City won 2-0, but it wasn't very convincing. It was very boring play. I just kept the ball, kept the ball. Obviously, the players came out and say it was very hot. We have to play a bit differently, but it'll be interesting because Brazilians are used to this.
Absolutely. They're used
Defeat
to
is
it
nothing,
and they're
you know.
doing their thing. I saw Messi scored a good free kick, a very good free kick in the Club World Cup. And
Is
then
uh
Messi fans were roasting us in those comments, bro.
is
Those
Ronaldo
Messi
is Ronaldo
fans.
still the goat?
Messi scored a great goal, but Ronaldo is still the GOAT. Nah, look, we had a lot of fun in the comments with a lot of you that were engaging. So thank you for all the engagement. And look, it's one of those debates where it's very subjective. Right?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite? When it comes to Messi, natural talent, he's the best. Like he's got a gift that no one else has. But when it comes to myself, my preference is CR7.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand why we say that, right? I think Messi is something that you watch and you can't recreate. If I had a son now and I wanted him to be a footballer, I could show him Messi video to see what Messi does, but I couldn't necessarily say go out there and do this because I feel like Messi is just a gift from God to football. It's like one of those talents like Michael Jordan to basketball. Obviously, Michael Jordan is also very hardworking. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it was just talent, but you could see the talent. He's like he's like Steph Curry and LeBron James. Everyone say not everyone, but most people say Steph Curry is the best because of the natural talent. He shoots a free from anywhere. The way he plays, you can see he's a gift from God. Obviously, put in the work in the gym as well. But LeBron James is the one that shows us what it means to really want it, to go and put in the work at the gym. However, all it is now is still working hard, just like Ronaldo. And you have to appreciate that. Like, he's an athlete. And I think as a kid, also, Ronaldo changed the game. The Siri, the way he took free cakes from young people were recreating that. So to me, Ronaldo's my goal. But just because as a kid, you can look at that and you can say, if I really, really work hard at it, I can become this. Not necessarily become Ronaldo because there's still talent there. Don't get me wrong, but there's a path. Messi, there's no path, bro. Unless you're born with it, well, forget it.
A
So
good way to explain it is that Messi, of course, has the natural talent, but Ronaldo is the icon. Like Ronaldo is an icon, right? He's an entrepreneur. He's got the celebration. He's got the fan base. So on this podcast, it's a CR7 thing. Messi boys, start your own podcast.
yeah, that's it. And then we'll come and comment in your videos.
Start your own podcast. And something else that other podcasts have been speaking about recently that's been a hot topic is Suarez versus Thierry Henry. So, JK, if you had to pick a striker, a number nine, between prime Luis Suarez and prime Thierry Henry, who are you picking and why?
It's a bit of a hard one, right? For me, anyways, because Thierry Henry I saw towards the end of his career. Obviously, saw loads of videos, and I know the quality. I'm not saying Thierry Henry is not a bowler, but as a striker, I think Suarez is like top three, top five, maybe. I think Suarez is so underrated. Don't get me wrong, I hate him because of everything he's done to Ghana. So I don't even like this guy before you guys start getting him. But purely footballing wise, bro, this guy was an animal, bro. Like the finishing, some of the goals he scores, bro, the fight in him. I think out and out striker, I pick Suarez over Thierry Henry, bro. And I
I
don't even
agree.
think it's a big debate. I think
I agree.
I think I have to go Suarez.
I didn't see prime Henry like at Arsenal, but when I even just looking back at what Henry did and what Suarez did, Suarez is an effing animal
Yeah,
because
bro.
Thierry Henry was strong, had pace, had flair, but you see a number of players that are strong, have pace, have flair, and could do what Henry did. Yeah, he got some crazy numbers, but I don't look at his stuff and think what an absolute animal. Right?
Animal. Yeah,
He was a great player. But
yeah,
Suarez would just shoot from 40 yards out. Man would just be chipping it. Man would flick the ball
yeah,
from five. Bro,
bro.
Suarez was
Yes.
prime Suarez. And as a Ghanaian, man hates that dude, bro.
Eh,
I don't know him, but I don't like him.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, Prime Suarez was an absolute animal and probably one of the best strikers I have seen and I
Yeah.
have witnessed. So
So him
yeah,
and Fernando Torres on his prime. Fernando Torres at Liverpool as well, bro. Oh my days. Like, listen, as you said, Thierry Henry, all-time great. I'm not taking anything away from him. But what Suarez did at Liverpool in the Prem to then go to Barcelona and that Suarez name and Messi, bro.
crazy. Is it not funny that both of them actually did a handball for their country?
Yeah, actually, I don't
Bro,
know if it's funny for the other fans, but
right? Both Thierry Henry and Suarez did a handball for their country. But yeah, no, it's definitely an interesting debate.
Speaking
And
about speaking about Thierry Henry and Suarez, who do you think is the best foreign player to ever play in the Prem?
the best foreign player to ever play in the Prem, Cristiano Ronaldo.
But then Cristiano Ronaldo's prime was at Madrid, really.
Yeah, his prime was at Madrid, but his final United years, bro, was
Yeah.
crazy, man. His final,
Are you forgetting about Eden Hazard,
yeah, Eden Hazard, yeah.
Sergio Aguero with the biggest moment in Premier League history with that
Yeesh. Yeah.
Aguero.
It's
I
true.
mean, there has been players, but yeah, I mean CR7 probably has. He's a CR7.
I'd say CR7. But no, it's one of those ones where if I gave it some thought, it would be interesting. But I definitely think CR7 is definitely up there. And there's been some great players that have graced the Premier League over,
Yeah,
especially in recent years, because it is the league where everyone wants to come. It's got the most money and it's got the most visibility. So it makes sense that it would have the best players trying to come and play here.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. But yeah, something I was thinking about recently is I'm even wearing a Ghana top. We're speaking about Suarez versus Ghana. Who do you think is the best, in your opinion, the best Ghanaian player at the moment?
At the moment, at the moment, he has to be Kudus, I think. I can't see past him really.
I
Um,
thought the same, bro, until I rewatched some videos of Antoine Samenyo.
yeah, but he doesn't do it for Ghana, bro. He does it for Bournemouth. Like it's so crazy, and Ghanaians might shoot me. I didn't even realize this Don was Ghanaian, and he played for the Ghana national team for so long,
Couple
and
years now. Couple years
I
now.
just never even saw him do anything of substance. That when I heard, yeah, Semenyo from Ghana, I was like, wait, what? Why did he not call him up? Meantime, this guy is playing for us doing nothing. So yes, in the Prem, rate him. I think he's a baller. He's had a great season. I hope he gets a big move, and I just want to see him recreate that for Ghana. You know, Kudus, although he was playing out opposition for us in that World Cup, like you could see there's a player there always wanting to do something. So I have to go with Kudus. But
That's my
yes,
point. I think Kudus had the World Cup to showcase his skill set, whereas Samenyo's only had these qualifying games and tough pitches to do so, and that's the reason why like I don't. I feel like we give Semenyo like the World Cup next year. Semenyo, like, he could do really well, and when I think about even the way Kudus performs for Ghana in the qualifying games, even he doesn't really do that well.
I hear it. But then, yeah, first, I mean, as I said, Semenya had a great season. I just have to go for Kudus because I've seen him do it for us a little bit more. As you said, hopefully, finger crossed, we qualify to the World Cup. We're in a good place, so I think we should qualify. And then I can see Semenya doing it in the big stage. Ultimately, I think if he recreates what he's done in the Prem, going forward, we could be very dangerous. So I'm hoping for that.
Man, like we on paper now we could do well because of course Yanaki Williams he's had a rough time with Ghana as well, but there's a player in there, man. Like for
Yeah,
Bilbao, he balls. We got Semenyo on one of the wings. We got other different wingers like Ernest Nuama, who's at Leon. He's got a lot of potential. Different wingers in midfield. We've got Kudus. We've got Thomas Partey. Well, we've got the foundations or the spine to have a team that can do okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully we can see some glory days for GH, man.
It's not the
Hopefully.
team. It's not the team of the past, but we'll take it. Like I remember the Kujoro Asamoah days, Essien Muntari, Asamoah Jan. Those were the days where watching Ghana was just something else, bro. Like looking back at that Uruguay game, bro. I was in Ghana in 2010. When that happened, and heartbroken, bro. Heartbroken. But that team, bro, something else. The quality. Atsu as well. Um,
And I mean, it just seemed like at the time, they just gave a little bit more, man. Because players
yeah,
like Samoa Jan, right? He did okay at Sunderland, but he didn't have the most crazy club career for us to
Yeah.
think, oh, he's this baller. But when he put that vest on, when he put that jersey on, that number 3, you know the Azonto was coming out. You know what I mean? You know the Azonto was coming out. But let us know in the comments, Ghanaians, between Mohamed Kudus, Antoine Semenyo, at the moment, do you think it's a straight cut Kudus thing, or do you think that it's debatable and maybe Semenyo might actually be a bit more
Yeah.
underrated by the best player? Let us know in the comments, man.
Yeah.
Let us know
Yeah.
in the comments. Let us know in the comments. So, what's happening in Milan, in the world of Milan, man? Not much is happening at the moment. Granit Xhaka is probably going to sign for Milan. I see that he wants to come. So
Yeah.
that's going to be really interesting. And for some reason, we're linked to hella strikers.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I think maybe Allegri doesn't really trust what we have there. I think he probably wants someone with more experience because I saw that we're linked to Vlahovic,
I
or
saw
that
that.
he wants to be reunited with Allegri, anyways.
Yeah,
Uh,
Allegri really rates Vlahovic, and Vlahovic wants to work with Allegri again. The reason why I don't think that's going to happen is because Vlahovic receives 12 million euros a year.
that's crazy. I think he's one of the most highest paid players in the Serie A.
He's up there. He's one of them. He's one of them. He gets 12 million euros a year, and we pay our star players 5. Like we didn't want to give Manyan 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I think will make it really hard. But Vlahovic, I wouldn't really want Vlahovic, man. I don't know. I think obviously he did well at Fiorentina. Juve, he's been a bit on and off.
Yeah.
Moise Kean, on the other hand, I've always liked Moise Kean. Like I've always
Oh,
had a keen interest in him and wanted him to do well. Last year, he scored over 20 goals in the league, high on confidence. And also, Moise Kean can also play left winger as well, so potentially can cover some of the wings. So, Moise Kean is one that I would be more interested in than Vlahovic. Also, he's Italian, so we need more Italian players for our squad.
yeah. Moiskin is an interesting one. I don't. If you buy Moiskin, I don't know what you're saying to Santiago Jimenez, for example. I saw that Camarda's probably going to go on loan next season, so maybe that's the reason why we're looking for another striker. But surely, like the midfield is where we should be worrying about right now. And I know that we've spoken about the names: Rabiot, Saka, Modric. This can't be our midfield going into next season. So I want to see something more, you know. Um, but Moise Kean, I'll take him. I really like him. He's had a really good season at Fiorentina. When he moved to Everton, I remember going to watch Crystal Palace Everton, um, and he came from the bench. He only played like 10 minutes, but I was hoping he would do well. And then he went to PSG somehow. You know, he's had this time around, and maybe AC Milan is the place where he can settle. He's done really well at Fiorentina, so he's done in the Serie A. You know, let's see how that progresses.
I forgot that he was at PSG, and he did well at PSG, man. He scored a lot of
Yeah,
goals at PSG.
yeah,
He scored a
yeah.
lot of
He's,
goals.
he's been about, bro. He's still young, but he's been about.
That's true. Hopefully, he can just settle down and yeah. It's an interesting time. I saw that there's some beef going on with Theo Hernandez as well, and they said that if he doesn't go to Atletico, they're gonna like punish him for some of his behaviors. And AC Milan right now is just an absolute disarray or a mess.
Everyone just wants to go for free, bro. That's what it is. They want to do one last season and go for free next season. Also, I was online earlier today and I was scrolling and I saw Rafael Leao uh, at the Milan fashion show and he was modeling. And then some of the comments were like, this guy, bro, he models more than he plays football. And then someone was like, Milan is the team that provides more models in the history of the world because everyone focuses on everything but football, bro. But yeah, he loves it, man.
Honestly, he loves it. He loves it. It's crazy. Another thing that I saw that happened in the Club World Cup is that Nicholas Jackson ended up getting a red card, and then he was very apologetic, and everyone was saying, "Oh, this has opened the doors for the lap to come in and sweep his place." What
He's
do you think
gonna
of that?
sweep his. He's gonna sweep his place anyways, bro. I don't think that's what opened the door. Like, if you're gonna bring a new striker, it means that you don't believe in the striker you have there. You know, don't get me wrong. I like Nicholas Jackson. The guy's 24. He's not even old. Yes, his finishing is very questionable, but the work rate that he puts in for the team and stuff. Like you can't take that away from him. Obviously, he's a striker, so you want goals from him. But we've seen at times that he has that in him, and I don't know if he's a confidence thing or not too sure. But I mean, that red card was stupid, bro. I don't really know what he was thinking. You're in the pitch for like 3 minutes, not even that, and you just go in a tackle like that. I don't know if his head was hot. I don't really know what was in his mind. But that was a silly tackle, bro. And I don't think he's going to start anyways as Chelsea number 9 next season. So I don't think that is the reason why it's not going to happen. But now you're missing however many games you're going to miss. The lap is the only other choice, you know? So, yeah. But the fact that he didn't even start that game tells you that he's not the main man.
I totally agree. I think Nico Jackson was one of those signings that I was always a bit confused about because he didn't even do that well at Villarreal. My dad obviously watches Real Madrid a lot, so I watched some of these La Liga games and I know the upcoming stars. He was not someone that was on the radar. So when they signed him, I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then it just didn't really pop from there. So no surprises on my end there, man. No surprises on my end. Just scrolling through just to see what else is going on in the world of football, man.
Um, One thing talking about Moise Kean moving around clubs, I was thinking about stars or like young players that were meant to be these great players and now have completely gone forgotten. And the name that came to mind, not sure why, probably because of FIFA. You remember Renato Sanchez, bro?
Fam, Renato Sanchez. I remember him very, very well. What potential?
Bro, do you
What
remember
potential?
Renato Sanchez? We
Yeah,
thought this guy was gonna change football, bro.
I know. He went to Bayern Munich really early, and then then
Swansea.
found himself in Swansea. Then he went to Roma. I don't even know where he is right now. Another speaking of wasted potential, Deli Ali, man.
Uh,
When he first went from MK Dons to Tottenham, dude was incredible. That goal he scored against Palace.
you didn't even have to. That's the goal that I was thinking
That
straight away.
goal that he scored against Palace. Incredible, 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 man.
But with him was his mental, innit? Like, I don't know if you saw some of the interviews. Like, he went through a lot with his family, and he was on like sleeping pills. He got addicted to sleeping pills and all of that stuff. It's really sad because I mean that Deli Ali, Harry Kane duo was something else,
Good.
bro.
It's good.
That season, they had that season where they were just breaking records.
It's good.
Um,
Do you think Pogba wasted his potential?
I think Pogba hasn't wasted anything. I think Pogba is an absolute baller. That move to United ruined him, but this guy won a World Cup, bro. This guy showed us what he could do. That Pogba Kante midfield, unmatched. I don't think we'll ever see something like it. Like, I hate when people say that one, wasted potential.
I've seen a lot of people.
Two, yeah. Two, he's not a good player. How can you say that, bro? You see this guy playing, and it's ridiculous. So I don't think he's wasted his potential. Obviously, big shame what happened with the drug situation. Obviously, the ban came at the wrong time of his career because ultimately, like that was prime time. I've seen him linked to Monaco, and I'd love
Yeah.
to see him back on the pitch. And Monaco are buying Ansu Fati as well.
So that.
So they got a little team building there.
So that.
But I don't think he's wasted potential. I think Pogba is probably one of the best midfielders in our time.
I
Um,
agree. I agree. I agree. I think I saw a lot of people saying Pogba's wasted potential, but yeah, you can't say that to someone who's won the World Cup, who's had a stellar career, and yeah, of course he had his situations going on, but yeah, I definitely don't think it's a wasted potential thing over there, man.
Not at all, bro. Have you
Wasted
seen?
potential. Yeah, go on.
Oh, go on, go on.
I was thinking of Milan. I was thinking of what happened to Mastor, man. I don't know if he just had a good PR team or what, but man was doing kick-ups with Neymar when he was 15. Like, I thought it was gonna be the best.
Mastur. I don't know. It's hard with some players because obviously he came out at 15, right? And he's a bit young, lot of attention. I think AC Milan gave him a big-ish contract for a 15 years old. There was a lot of expectation, and I think that sort of killed him, man. Because then he focused more on the image rather than the football. Not because he wanted to, just because of how we pushed him out to the world, We didn't really look after him. as a 15-year-old. I don't think.
Bro,
Um,
Store is now 27 years old, fam.
it's crazy. It's
That's
crazy.
so crazy, bro.
It's crazy.
He
Where is
plays
he?
for Union de Turga, which is a professional team in Rabat, Morocco.
Crazy.
And last season, 9 games, 0 goals. Before, before that, he was at Renaissance Zembanza, which is also in Morocco. 12 games, 3 goals. Before that, he was at Capri. 10 games, 1 goal. He was at Regina. 10 games, 0 goals. Bro, the guy has scored 4 goals in his professional career.
It's a shame, man. It's a shame. Because if you go back, like if you guys don't know him, go back and look at what this guy was doing at youth level for AC Milan. He was unbelievable, bro. At 15, I think he was playing with the under 18s, doing crazy stuff. But yeah, I think the PR killed him, sadly. Um, yeah, what a shame. But look at Lamine Yamal, bro. It's just how you look after the players, and I don't think we looked after him, to be honest. But let me know if I'm wrong.
What a shame, what a shame, what a shame. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say, have you seen that? Obviously, the fixtures that come out, and
Yeah.
Arsenal fans are crying already, saying, "Oh, we got the first 6 games, and everything is against us." You know, they're writing down the excuses from before the season starts, just in case they don't win again. You know, remember I told you the fixtures is the reason why. But what do you think about playing the big teams first? Do you think it makes a difference?
That's a really good question. I'm looking at the Arsenal fixtures at the moment, okay? They've got Newcastle, Spurs, United, Leeds, Liverpool, Nottingham
Man,
Forest,
Man
Man
City.
City,
Yeah.
Newcastle. Now, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because end of the day, you're gonna play these teams, whether it's at the beginning of the season, the middle
Or
of
at
the
the end.
season,
Yeah.
or the end of the season. So whether you, and actually front loading them and getting them all in at the start means that afterward you can go on a good run of games where you should be the favourite to win week in, week out. So Arsenal fans, stop crying. I don't feel like yeah, it's a tough start to the season, but you're in the Premier League. What you want to win the league, but you're scared of playing the best teams in the league. Come on, man. What do you think?
I think ultimately you play everyone twice, bro. And I'd rather play them at the beginning because I
Yeah.
do believe that at the beginning, a lot of teams are not fresh. They're not. Man City always start the league slow. You want to play Man City at the beginning of the season, you know. And ultimately, is your chance. It's tough because they could really lose 4 games out of the first 6 games. The same win, they could win all of them, you know. But ultimately, you have to play them twice, bro. Whether you play them at the beginning or at the end, it doesn't really matter. And the league is not won in October or
That's
November. So,
And if you lose to all the teams at the beginning, it means you're not good. Like, let's see. Do you know what I'm trying to say? If you're title contenders, like, let's go. City,
yeah.
Liverpool, Newcastle. All right, let's rumble. Let's see how good you actually are. Let's see if you are actually title contenders, as you say that you are. So getting them early, I think, is actually better than getting them later on. Because also, let's not pretend that Arsenal aren't chokers. Every single season, when they can do well, they start choking and start go down. So really and truly, you want to play these teams early while you are fresh.
And in the other hand, I don't know if you had a quick look at the United fixtures as well.
No, I haven't. Let me look now.
They are a tough, tough, tough start, bro. And this is a big season for Amarin. It's a big season for United. And they could start the league with about 5 losses, bro. Not even exaggerating.
Okay, so
Arsenal at home the first game of the season.
yeah, you got Arsenal at home, first game of the season, then they've got Fulham away, then they got Burnley, then they got City, then
Yeah,
Chelsea, then Brentford, Sunderland, then Liverpool, Brighton. But this is the Premier League, man. Do you know what I mean? Like
it is. It is. But
the
it's a
Premier League,
tough start.
there's 7 good teams. Do you know what I mean? And then you're gonna play some good teams early, man. And every year there's a new good team. Like Villa's now a good team. Newcastle's now a good team. So I hear it. What do you think United will do next season? I think that they will miss out on European football again. I'll be honest, because last year I didn't see anything from Amarim to suggest that he knows anything about what he's doing currently at Man United. And I know at Sporting he did well, but he's stuck with this formation. Look, anyone that plays Football Manager knows if the formation isn't working, you've got to work with the tools that you have at your disposal. I think that's the sign of a good craftsman,
Manager. Yeah.
bro. So you've got these tools at your disposal. You're trying to shoehorn your system into it. It's not working, and he didn't seem to want to adapt or change. The transfer market, they got Cunha. They're potentially going to get Mbuemo. Still not really solving that problem. Who's going to play in midfield? Is Casemiro going to play in midfield? Is Ericsson going to play in midfield? Is Urgate going to play in midfield? Who's going to play in defence? Is it Maguire? Like, who's going to be a wing back? Is it Dallo and Dorgu? I think United are going to fall out of European positions again.
Um, I think he's gonna have pre-season with them, and they're not in any other competition. Obviously, you got the Carling Cup, which is now the Carabao Cup or whatever, and you got the FA Cup. Um, I He's really rated in Portugal, Amarin. Few of my Portuguese friends love him, and they say if you give him time, he's going to do well. I just think United is a bad place to go as a person and as a player at this moment of time because of the management. Obviously, the management is changing, right? But I can't see them making top six. But I wouldn't be surprised if they finish seventh or something, or eighth. I don't think they'll finish as low as they did last season.
I
And
agree.
if,
I don't
and
think
if
they'll
they
finish as
do,
well.
if they do,
Let's peak. Exactly.
yeah,
I don't think they'll finish as low, but I do think they will be out of European positions. I feel like, yeah, Man United. You said people talking about the end of Man City. Like, it's the end of Man United, man. Man United is no longer the club that it was, and we just have to wake up to. Because even our Milan, yeah, who is not the club that it was, only 3 years ago we won the league. So I say, and then we were in the Champions League semi-final. So I say that to say that we're nowhere near the height that we were.
yeah,
But even though we've fallen off, like it's not the end. Whereas with Man United, I truly believe that we're looking at these clubs that English fans always say, oh, they're a big club, like Aston
yeah.
Villa, like Nottingham
Leeds.
Forest, Leeds. They're a big club. But we look at them and we're like, I feel like that's what might happen to United, where over the years, if they keep ending out of the European places, for us that we know United will be like it's a big club. But for the next generation, if I go primary schools all the time, yeah. If I was to go to a primary school and be like, United are a big club, they'll be like, allow it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? That shows you everything you need to know, bro. Like,
But also for United to lose in the final against Tottenham, bro, like I think that's the new low, bro. You know,
facts. That was the nail in the coffin. Like, that was the confirmation. You guys are done.
not to say that if they won that everything would have changed, but at least we can still say, yeah, they still got that
On the
United
European
fight in
level.
them, you know. But I can't see it, and it's interesting because obviously the season hasn't started, so maybe it's a bit too early to ask. But who do you think is going to finish top four next season, based on the signings that we're seeing and the movement in the market, etc.?
That's a really good question. Early prediction, top four for me, in no particular order. Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle.
Yeah,
Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle.
you
I
don't
might
think
prediction top four.
you don't think Tottenham can do something under Thomas Frank?
Tottenham's at, Arsenal's at.
Arsenal is that? Wait, I just clocked.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle.
Yeah,
As it
you're crazy.
stands.
You're crazy.
As it stands.
Okay.
What are you
I,
saying?
I think Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. I'll have to go Chelsea, I guess. Chelsea. I think Arsenal makes top four, bro. I think ultimately, if you look at Arsenal as a team, like the foundation is still one of the best in the Prem. They might not win it. They might never win it, to be honest. But I think for next year, anyways, I think they still make that top four. I think if next year Arsenal wins nothing, you're gonna start seeing some of the players going, and that's when we'll get the same old Arsenal situation where they were relevant for a little bit and then they go again, and then they'll come back eventually, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. They should, and the thing is, they should, right? Obviously, I'm putting a big prediction out there,
Yeah.
but Arsenal should get in the top four. But it's going to be interesting. And you say Tottenham with Thomas Frank. I don't know if we actually spoke about this. What did you think of their decision to sack Ange Postecoglou and bring in Thomas Frank after he had just won them a trophy and changed the history of the club?
This is the pinnacle of football, isn't it? It is, and it's a harsh business. But ultimately, as Tottenham, me, James, I still don't think Tottenham is a big club, in my opinion, right? But in the Premier League, it's always been seen as one of the top six clubs, right? So ultimately, bro, you can't finish 17th or 18th in the Premier League or wherever they ended. And yes, scrape your way to a trophy in the worst final ever that obviously no one's going to talk about in 10 years because they won it, who cares? But it wasn't good enough. I think the season was really bad. Yes, loads of injuries. They never had their starting fours for half of the season. So it was really hard. And I would have gave him another year. But to bring in Thomas Frank, I'm not mad at that. If I'm a Tottenham fan, fair enough, he's harsh, but I'm not mad at that. I think Thomas Frank is a really good manager,
You said a few things. We'll start with you said Tottenham isn't a big club.
in my
Ex-
opinion.
yeah, yeah. Explain why you don't think they're a big club and what they would have
Obviously,
to do to be considered one.
living in Italy, bro, like the English, I lived in Italy, I lived in Milan 15 years, innit? And the big clubs in England were Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool. And that's probably it, bro, in my opinion. Man City weren't even in the picture at the time. You know what I mean? So then when I moved here and I started watching the Premier League, obviously I saw what Tottenham were doing, but they were never really like if you get Tottenham in the Champions League at the time, it wasn't really like oh it's scary. You know what I mean? So that's why I say that. Obviously, having moved here, I've seen them play good football. I've seen them have really good season and really good players. I've never achieved anything though.
One year
So
now.
now they won the Europa League, but does that make them a big club now?
Well, the thing is, you mentioned about Italy, but like you said, it's Man City wasn't a big team in Italy, and now they are a big team.
Yeah, but
So
why? Why are they a big team?
because they won, yeah, the Premier League and the
You know what I
Champions
mean?
League, they are a big
Like,
team. They are a big
yeah,
team.
like if City won the Europa League in
Yeah.
all of this time, in the last 10 years, would we call City a big club? Not really, bro. Do you know
That's
what I
good.
mean? Because you can't just win the Europa League and now you're a big club. Um, there has to be, Atalanta won the Europa League. Obviously, Atalanta's become a massive club in Italy because of the way they play football. Trophy wise, obviously they won the Europa League. And what else? Maybe they won a Coppa Italia or something. Are they a massive club? Not really, but Gasperini has taken them to a place where you say Atalanta and people know who they are. And I feel like Tottenham is similar. Like, obviously, back in the days, I know they won stuff, they had good players. But now, I to me, Tottenham is not a big club. You
Yeah.
know,
So do you think Atalanta is a bigger club than Spurs?
it's hard, right? Because obviously, everyone talks about you have to look at the history of the club, right? And I think I don't really know the history of Tottenham that well, but I know that they were regarded as a big club back in the day. So I'll have to give it to Tottenham because ultimately they've won stuff before, and I think they won the Europa League like 4 times um, in their history or something. So Atalanta is a newer club. As academy level, Atalanta was always one of the best teams in Italy.
Yeah.
Like the youth team playing against Atalanta was tough. You know what I mean?
I remember you
But
said.
they are now. I think Tottenham is probably bigger than Atalanta, yes, but I think Atalanta is more relevant in today's. Like if you're a betting man, Atalanta playing Tottenham tomorrow, I'd put my money on Atalanta.
Makes sense, makes sense. And then the second thing, I guess you spoke about the season. I definitely disagree because I think it's much better to come 16th or 17th and win Europa than to come top four and not win anything.
I don't think it's necessarily about winning though. I think obviously football is is about winning, but the reason is about it has to be a style of play for the fans to believe that the team can go somewhere. You know, Arsenal, yes, they haven't won anything, but you can see where they're going because of the way they play. You know, it's exciting. You can see that there's a future. It's a young team. You know what they're trying to do. You know, Saka, Martinelli. When they play football, you know what they're trying to do. With Tottenham, not this is not because of Postecoglou, because I think he's been really unlucky with the injuries and stuff. But ultimately, we didn't see what they're trying to do, bro.
Don't you
You
think
know,
so? Play high
like
line, high press. I think you could see what Spurs are trying to do. If anything, to their detriment. Like when they got smacked by Chelsea, they kept doing it even with
kept
10 men.
doing it. Yeah, first we could see what they're trying to do, but we could see that it's not working. Yeah,
But they won a trophy.
and well done to them, bro. But if Postecoglou came back and played the same way, I don't think they would have gone anywhere, bro.
If
They
they won
won
a
a trophy.
trophy next year, if Postecoglou won the FA Cup next year, because what I agree with Postecoglou about is that winning was way more important than league position, because
But
they've come.
that was no, but that was only because of how the season panned out. At the beginning, bro, he wouldn't have said that. That's only because we've seen how the season pan out, and then yes, at that point in the season, it doesn't matter how you win. You just have to win because
But
of how the season has
I would
gone.
have said that from the start, though. Do you
But
not think?
as a fan, bro,
Okay.
would you rather AC Milan win the Coppa Italia, play shit football, and know that this is not sustainable? Like we won it, yes, I'll take it, but it's not sustainable, bro. It's not going the right way, right? Would you rather just win? Would you rather win the Coppa Italia this season and then know that for the next? Obviously, I don't know that, but the way it's going, knowing that there's not really sense of direction. Because right now, I'm not saying I would have kept Postecoglou. I'm not mad at it because he's won you a trophy, loads of injuries, give him another year, and then if it doesn't work, sack him. Third. But ultimately, I don't think that season was good enough. Even because if United won it, I would have still said that United season was crap. The same way I still think Tottenham season is crap, bro, regardless of what they won. Yes, it's good for the club because they ended like the no trophy, and you know people can't really take the piss out of them anymore. But it wasn't a good season, bro. You know what I mean?
When does it? How? When does it end? Like what would have been a good season? So if they play good football, but then they finish 10th, but then they play good football, you can see where they're going. Is that a good season? I don't know how you can say they won the Europa League and they didn't have a good season.
So would you say Tottenham had a better season than Arsenal?
Yes,
See, I wouldn't.
yes.
Because ultimately, I think yes, we've now moved to the in a world where trophies is everything that matters. But as a fan of the club, I can't just take a trophy with my team not playing it, or me seeing where the team is going, bro. You
I
know,
don't
I feel
understand
like
that, bro, because you can't see the future. So you asked the AC Milan point.
yeah.
With if it was Coppa Italia, no. But if we were to win the Europa League in a higgy hag way, if this season we won the Europa League, I think I would have been very happy because
Yeah,
that's what.
I would have been happy as well, bro. But if we won the Europa League and finished 18th, bro, I wouldn't have been happy, bro. That's ridiculous. For
I, would-
AC Milan to finish for AC Milan to finish 18, I think that's crazy, bro.
I
One
agree.
play, so I
We're in
can't be
the
happy.
Champions League next year. So what's like if we win Europa League, we're in the Champions League next year. Okay, we finished 17th. We didn't get relegated. We regroup. We got money from the Champions League. We go again. That's a good
We
year.
would have,
If
bro.
you
We
win
would have,
Europa League, you've had a good year.
bro. We would have spent half of the season crying. I would have been on the phone to you saying, "What is going on?"
But at the end,
I can't live like that.
but
So,
at the
so,
end,
but would you have kept the manager?
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
No, bro.
If we're like
Come
seeing
on,
okay,
bro.
semi-finals, quarter-finals. He said he's gonna win something. He wins the trophy.
Bro.
He win the
You're
trophy.
forgetting. You're not taking. I think you're not taking this into context. If AC Milan, big AC Milan, finished 18th in the season, playing the way Tottenham were playing, bro, losing the amount of games that Tottenham lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we win the Europa League, which I would have been happy. Of course, I would have gone to Milan and celebrated. I'm not saying that I wouldn't have, but I couldn't have accepted finished 18, losing however many games, conceding however many goals, and saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna keep him from next year." I couldn't have, bro. I would have said, "Thank you very much for your service. I really appreciate. I'm not taking it for granted, but we need a change, in my opinion."
Obviously, 18th is relegated, isn't it? So maybe not 18th, but 17th, 16th.
17th, sorry, 16th, 17th.
Take it. Oh, there's been seasons where we finished 11th. If those seasons we won Europa League, I'd be like, it's so. The question here isn't would I keep the manager? Is would I have said that it's a good season? Yes.
I can't, bro.
The manager, maybe we.
So you're saying if United won the Europa League, you would have sat here and told me that United had a good season?
I want to say it was that it saves their season. Yeah.
Saved the season.
Yeah, I would say it would save their season.
Yeah. You even said it with a smile on your face. I can't take that. I'm so sorry. I can't take
It will
it.
save their season for
For
sure.
I think for Tottenham, because I don't think it's a big club. Wait,
It's good.
for United, AC Milan, I couldn't accept that, bro. I can't.
Which is also a good point that for Tottenham standard, which is I guess partly even why I think they had a good season,
Yeah.
man.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So now we can get to an agreement.
Because of Tottenham standards, it was
Because
good.
of Tottenham standards, it was a really good season.
Yeah,
But
no, it's
I think
really.
for a big club, I
Yeah.
don't think it's good enough, bro.
I hear it.
think it's good
I hear it. And I guess maybe that proves your point that Tottenham isn't a big club because I think that it would have been a good season, to be
Yeah.
fair. So, yeah, let us know in the comments, man. Did
Yeah, let us
Tottenham
know.
have a good season last year? Finished almost in the relegation zone, but won the Europa League. I think they had a good season. JK thinks they did not have a good season. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, man. That's it. But, yeah, man, any final words?
No, I think the Club World Cup is getting interesting, more interesting than we maybe thought it would be. So let's see where that takes us. Let's see what happens in the market next week, and we'll reconvene for episode 5 next week.
The episode Zidane, season number 5. So yeah, sounds good. We'll keep an eye out on the transfer market. Keep an eye out. We'll make some content. So keep following us and let's let the page keep growing. Let's get to 200 followers ASAP. Come on, let's do this.
Yes.
Till next
Thanks
time.
for tuning in.
See you.
And it's the boy JK. See you
Take
soon.
care.